I'm Tim Taylor. I'm one of the executives responsible for setting up Making Great Leaders. And what I want to do over the next 15 minutes is introduce you to one of our key tools. It's called Performance Lifecycle. And what it's designed to do is help managers become much more resourceful in terms of understanding their motivation and the motivation of others, things that impact motivation, and how to develop tactics to keep yourself focused on vision and the things that you really want to get done. So in the first instance, what I want you to do as we go through this is just look at this model from your own perspective to try and learn a lot more about yourself. The two objectives we have in mind as we go through this is to improve your understanding of your motivation. So what things can impact your motivation and how that can change your mindset. And then as we go through the process of using this tool over the next number of weeks when we're in the workshop, how to develop specific strategies to project great leadership. So when we designed the tool, we looked at two things. One is the attitude that you bring to work every day, and we discovered that that could either be very flexible or it could be very rigid, and that had a major impact on your use of your ability, and particularly when you think of your ability as a leader in helping teams come to conclusions and solve problems. Then we put in a distribution curve, and we nominated each of these spaces so that we could talk quickly and easily about our mindset, motivation, what's impacting us, and how we might change. I'm going to go through these in somewhat of a logical order, although in real life there is no logic in terms of where you shift on the life cycle and the links between those shifts. So let's begin and look at what we call the just born mindset. So in this mindset, you're very, very flexible, but you're not really sure how to use your abilities, so you're using them at a lower level. Things that might have triggered this mindset change. You might have new data, new issues that have turned up, new people joining the team. Somehow there's a lack of confidence in your part. You're not quite sure how to use your skill set, so that explains why they're low. But you're very open to doing a great job in helping the team, so you're very flexible and you're willing to listen. So the behaviors that go along with this mindset would be things like being quiet, waiting to see what's going to happen in a meeting, participating less than you would normally do. So this mindset is flexible but passive. The next mindset, moving up a little bit, is what we call terrible 2. There's a better sense of what skills you could use or what abilities you could bring to bear. But the triggers that might trigger this mindset are things like there's not real clear status in terms of how you fit into the group, or the group dynamics might be very different, no one paying attention and listening to each other, or there's too many voices being heard. And typical behavior we see when this mindset is exhibited is a lot of use of humor and playfulness and jokes. People, managers in this mindset will throw out multiple ideas, so you might, if you're in this mindset, fire 1, 2, 3 different solutions to a particular problem. And that the overall sort of premise or projection is that you're not taking things too seriously. Next on the performance life cycle, we talk about problem child mindset. In this mindset, there's a real belief that you can deliver the right answer. So somehow or something has triggered the idea that you recognize the problem that you're trying to solve. You think you might have the right answer. You also might get some reward and recognition from someone else within the group. And the typical behaviors that we see in this mindset is being pushy, asking for more responsibility or asking for more time in the meeting, or also being unaware of the overall scope of the problem being dealt with. The on-target mindset is interesting because the triggers that tend to show up here are when people are being successful, where people get recognition and trust from others within the group, and somehow start to feel somewhat comfortable. So when you feel more comfortable, you've got a recognition, you've got some successes, you're using your ability to a higher degree, and the behaviors that might go along with that are looking to maintain a type of routine, certainly looking to avoid risk, and managing everyone else in the group to get to this, what we call on target or just enough status. We're doing just enough to get the job done. We don't need to rock the boat. Let's not have anybody being too radical. The next mindset we call know-it-all, and it's interesting, especially when we're dealing in a knowledge economy. Success itself can drive this mindset, your personal success, your personal understanding of issues, your personal knowledge and expertise. So you begin to think, well, I know it better than other people, I think I can do a better job, and I certainly think my solution will be better. The behaviors that go along with this, you see a lot of overconfidence. You see a lot of people seeking for their answers to be right, so you want your answer to be the answer that wins through. And for that reason, you may be very dismissive of new ideas, and you might also find yourself being resistant to change. Following on from this mindset, you have what we call know it better. Again, change can be a huge trigger that develops this mindset. Getting feedback that promotes or reinforces your position, and developing a power base. And what we see in groups, and this mindset gets set with someone, is that you get alliances, one or two people start to agree around an idea, and you create a small power base. The sorts of behavior that goes on to reinforce this mindset is there's a lot of focus on what has happened in the past, how we've got to this point. You get a lot of commentary around sunk costs, what we've invested more than an hour as a team getting to this point, let's not change things. There's a lot of assumptions made about the validity of input and the data being used. And in this mindset, you're no longer listening to learn something new, you're really listening to ideas or data points that are going to reinforce where you've already got to and what you want to get done. The next mindset is know who to blame, probably the most recognizable mindset. Tends to be triggered when things show up that people weren't expecting. So we have progressed so far with an idea or a solution. New data has showed up that looks like that idea may not work. And so your mindset shifts to projecting things outside. So, you want to blame other people, you want to blame the data, you want to blame the circumstances that got you there. And to see behavior showing up such as defending the current status quo rather than reviewing all of the data more objectively. Dismissing feedback or dismissing the group's values. Anything that's going to leave you in a position where you feel that you are somehow wrong, and therefore you'll project and blame other folks. The next mindset is don't want to cooperate. Triggers that can really fire this mindset up are where you have good ideas but no one's really using them or listening to them, or where you've had an idea and people challenge them and in some ways you perceive it to be unfair. Behaviors that then are generated from this mindset is you become more passive. You're not really willing to challenge people back, even if you see them making mistakes. And you tend to, in your mind, you're starting to reinforce the us and them paradigm. You can then move into a leave me alone mindset. Typically the triggers that present this mindset are when people feel very overwhelmed or undervalued, or there's something happened inside the group dynamics where they feel humiliated in some way or excluded. And then again, the behavior that shows up is you become disengaged. You might sit in the meeting silently criticizing your colleagues in terms of the way they're putting forward ideas or acting out inside the meeting, or simply daydream waiting until the meeting's over. And then lastly, you might go into leave the team. Again, triggers of confusion, not seeing any real role for yourself in a group, or not seeing any value in what you've got to put forward, or looking at conflicting priorities. All of these things might put you into this mindset, and you mentally check out, you wish it would stop, and you're hoping that the meeting or the events are going to close out pretty soon. Productive place to be in the performance life cycle is to get yourself into a high achiever mindset. Again, the triggers are similar: change, successes, challenges, having other people trust you within the group, you trusting the group, getting focused on the big goal. Those are triggers that can really help maintain this mindset. And the behaviors you tend to see with a high achiever mindset is that there's a continued focus on trying to learn from each other and learn about the situation. There's a lot of support around the values that will help the team work better. And this mindset wants to show other people trust to help build up that well-being within the team. And the next mindset is leader mindset. And the things that trigger this The big thing that triggers this is really getting to grips with the vision, understanding what you're trying to achieve, building a space where people are giving candid feedback, seeing the team achieve becomes a real trigger for this behavior. What we see a lot of is people in this mindset are parking their ego. They become less important than the team, that they're looking for others to get through, and they're really keen that others' ideas get put on the table and used, and they don't mind other people getting the results or the recognition. So that's the performance life cycle. We all travel through each of those spaces from time to time, and we actually have patterns. There are places we go to more often than others. The one big thing that we do know that to be in that top left-hand quadrant of on target to leader, you've got to be goal focused, you've got to be vision focused, and that has got to take precedent over all of the other emotions that you might want to share in or express. And you take actions that help your team deliver towards the vision. That simple idea is the performance life cycle. What it's saying is your attitude impacts the way you use your ability, and that mindset is really the indicator that tells you where you are. Understanding that means that you can make adjustments, you become more resourceful, and you can keep asking yourself if what you're doing is going to take you towards your major goal or your vision.